You mentioned that you do the cost estimates, but my friends usually ask me, why can't I just get a fully to give me the estimates? Why do I need to pay a professional? How can you save me money? Hello and welcome to Kakaan Build Talks. As promised earlier on, we are to bring an exciting professional and consultant in the construction industry. Today, guess who we have for you? A quantity surveyor. Our guest today is a professional quantity surveyor registered by the Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors. Today, we are looking at having a very interesting talk and discussion just to interact with him, to understand his role in the industry, how he's able to come in and help us sort out various challenges that are experienced in the construction and built environment. Apart from that, we also expect to hear various nuggets from him on how we can save costs. As we all know, money is one of the most important parts when it comes to architecture and construction. Welcome, Philip.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's an exciting opportunity to be here today.
Karibu, karibu. So Philip has been my friend for quite a number of years, and we've worked with him on a number of projects. So I had to make him my first guest, lest he stones me or sabotages my other projects. So Philip, maybe you can just give us a brief background of your experience in the construction industry, what you do, and probably exactly how you come in and interact with the various professionals in the industry.
Okay. Well, my name is Philip Riwo. I am a quantity surveyor by profession. A quantity surveyor basically is your cost man in the construction.
The money man.
Yes, for lack of a better word. So this country is mostly a Christian country, and if you read the Bible talks about someone planning to do a construction, and it warns you on starting a construction before you sit down and think and plan about how much it's going to cost you, and if you have enough. That's Luke 14:28.
Wow. So, maybe just I didn't know you were a pastor, but that's okay. Yeah.
So quantity surveyors come in to help you with the process of just planning, getting the exact costs for your project, planning your costing, and also looking at the various options you have in terms of, I would like to call it value engineering, in terms of what you're able to achieve with the amount of money or the budget you have. So over and above that as well, quantity surveyors are not just cost managers. We are also help you in the process of the contract administration. We help you in the process of project management. We help you in the process of also from inception to completion in the relation between the client and the contractors, or the parties engaged in taking part in the construction of the building.
That's pretty interesting, and also I believe you've basically explained quite a bit of things that a QS does. And maybe just to get some clarification, you mentioned that you do the cost estimates, but my friends usually ask me, why can't I just get a fundi to give me the estimates? Why do I need to pay a professional or someone who'd charge me all the money? I know you guys charge quite a bit, a sum. Maybe you can explain to us why a client should rather come to you instead of going to a fundi, because I think a fundi can do the same job.
Well, fundi doing the same job is an interesting aspect, but I would like to equate it to getting into a shop. You want to buy a car, for example. You go to the shop, you know the car you want. You will go to, if you go to a Mercedes dealer, the Mercedes dealer will try and sell you. I don't know if I should be mentioning car brands.
Yes, just to clarify, it's not a sponsored ad, but could proceed.
Yes. So it's like going to make A and try, the make A will try and sell you their make B will also try and sell you their Mac. All in all, trying to, in a bid to try and get the business from you. a fundi is someone who is trained to do a particular aspect of construction. So if you get a fundi who's going to do for you masonry work, that guy knows how to do masonry work. If he's a carpenter and all that. But when you're trying to estimate your project costs, there's a lot that is involved in coming up with the cost estimates of a project. Right from when you ground break to when you handed the keys. All the aspects that come together to give you that dream home that you have always been picturing in your head and fantasizing about having at the end of the day. So we come with the expertise and the training in tackling each and every component that is involved in the construction and in the design of the house, with close collaboration with the architects, with the engineers, with the structural, mechanical, electrical, to come up with a concrete cost estimate for use. I wouldn't want to really, I have been involved in projects where we try and just evaluate a cost that has been received from a fundi, and I don't think that's the right way to go about your cost estimation.
What exactly were the differences between work that has been done by yourself and that is being done by a fundi?
Well, for this particular project, I can tell you the cost overruns were more than 4 or 5 times. So ideally, what the fundi gave the client was not really the right picture for the project.
And it's probably because he's not trained to do what you are doing. Yeah. And I believe you actually take quite some bit of time in university to just understand what you're doing, and maybe you can explain to us the process that it takes to make a QS.
Well, okay, yeah, the training is intensive. We undergo a 4-year course in the university where we get to interact with all the architectural aspects as well and the structural component of construction in a bid to try and understand a bit more what we are yet to receive from the engineers and from the architects, just to help us in the process of also coming up with the estimates that will really reflect the anticipated costs of the construction. So funny enough is that we were in the same campus, so you will notice that in campus we were looking at also having a few units that will involve architectural studies, including some studio classes where we'll just try and get to understand the architectural aspect of it. We had a very tough course called structures, which also was a bit, which was also an explanation and a course through the whole structures in construction. And also, as much as we're not structural engineers, but we have a basic, at least we have some background, some information and some knowledge about the whole structure as well. So those are some of the things that we learn in campus that will help us just enhance our capabilities to just be able to do cost control in a more efficient way.
Okay, thank you. Just to clarify also, apart from the training that you receive in campus, is there any other registration that you have to go through, or once you're done with campus, you just free to call yourself a quantity surveyor and practice? And on top of that, like you just mentioned earlier, that you had a situation where someone who was unlicensed, we rather love calling them crooks, actually went ahead and did cost estimates which had overruns by almost 5 to 10 times. So to mean if the project was 5 million shillings, then the project ended up being almost 20 million shillings or thereabout, or probably twice as much. So the first question is there, let's say, a body that regulates your profession? And in case, because I'd want to say, in case it was you who did such mistakes, are there repercussions to your actions, or also just like the quack or the crook, you can just get away by just giving your own estimates?
Yes, so we are governed by the Board of Architects and Quantity Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors, that's BORAX. So after graduation, you have to go through training under a registered quantity surveyor for a period of 2 years before you're able to sit for your exam. And if you're lucky enough to pass the examination, then you also register as you get your registration, and now you're able to practice as a registered quantity surveyor with a license number. And with that, a quantity surveyor is a title that is protected by law, and therefore you cannot just call yourself a quantity surveyor if you're not registered by the relevant body. So that also is part of the regulation that governs our entire profession. Then, of course, with that governing, you're also able to now get your professional indemnities, things like those, so that the client can be more comfortable knowing that if you trying to get the most decent word to use, if something goes wrong and it is because of professional negligence, then he has something to to just fall back on.
Okay. So I understand at least for the client has somewhere to go to in case they have a complaint, unlike just a common wananchi who would just do that, and since you made that decision to go with them, there's no proper repercussion. So I believe at times when there are situations of malpractice, because we are also governed by the same board, you might actually lose your practicing license, and that generally means losing your livelihood.
Yes.
Yeah.
And apart from losing your livelihood, I think quantity surveying is a passion. It is something personally I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So I wouldn't want also to get into something that will make me have to stop doing work or to stop practicing for a particular period of time.
Okay. That's nice. Earlier on, you mentioned that during construction process projects, you don't only give cost estimates, but also you help with project administration. So what do you mean by project administration or contract administration, as you mentioned earlier?
So in your typical construction process, you will have, of course, the client, and you will have the contractor. And the contractor is ideally the party that is going to implement or be responsible for bringing the building up or constructing the building. So, of course, there's going to be some form of agreement between the two parties. So, in the construction process, we are the ones who help in administering the agreement, or now the contract between the client and the contractor. That will mean coming up with we have standard forms of contracts that we use in terms of what is to be signed by the two parties, in terms of coming up with most of the time also just have some changes to it here and there just to custom suit the particular project. In the process of the implementation of the project as well. So we are responsible for now ensuring that both parties act within the confines of their contract and what, for this case, was the agreement in terms of how they proceed the construction.
So basically now you're saying technically you're the construction lawyer. Earlier on you're telling us you're the accountant.
Yes. So we can say we are the lawyers in the process.
In the construction industry.
Yes. Though I do not want to be quoted as a lawyer, is also a protected term. So we may, for example, let me say we assume the roles of what could typically be done by a lawyer in the whole construction field.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you. One of the most important questions or interesting questions that clients usually ask: how can you save me money? Or how does a QS? I've heard you say, or at times when you're pitching to a client, say that as a QS, I can help you save money in a project. Maybe you can just explain how you help clients and also just people in the construction industry just help save the cost?
What we help the client achieve is mainly to help the client get value for the money he or she wants to put into the construction. So we are able to advise the clients the best available options, which are closer to his or her intended outcome in terms of materials, in terms of specifications, that will probably help him get value for his or her money.
So what I'm getting is technically you're in the construction industry. When you engage with the other consultants and clients, you find the best way to help the client save money through specifications and also the processes of construction. So in a nutshell, you're more like become more like a financial advisor to the client.
Yes.
Okay.
And in that regard as well, we're looking at if the client wants to spend 1 million, for example. 1 million is not. If you want to spend 1 million on a construction, so what will that 1 million? What will the 1 million ideally get you in the current markets we have? So of course, someone might give you the same 1 million item with 1.5 million. Someone might give you 1.3 million. So we come in to just try and moderate and make sure that you get the product within the
best
market
product
rate at that particular time.
Okay, that's interesting. I already see myself saving a lot of money. Just to ask, what's one of the most interesting or challenging projects that you've interacted in the near future, in the recent past, that you can share with us your experience? Yeah.
Funny enough, I think the most challenging project I have encountered is related to what you are really passionate about, which is being a sustainable design and all. So I think the sustainability in the construction industry is being taken up as time goes by, but how we marry it in terms of costs and also to try and get, in this particular situation, we were trying to get the green building certification. Okay. Yes. So it was my first experience at that particular time. I think it is gaining a lot of momentum in the country as well. So how we are marrying, trying to get a very more cost-effective way and also being a sustainable design, and getting involved with the sustainability experts who are helping in the certification of the green buildings as well. It was a hectic project.
Okay. Yeah. I hope you eventually came out really successful.
Of course, it is one of the projects that are now green building certified in Kenya, and the kind of input that we got and insight on the material alternatives, the different ways of doing things just to try and get the building green certified was a very enriching process as well for me.
This is a question that I'd normally have asked an architect, but maybe you can just help us understand what green certifications generally mean. Yeah.
Well, ideally, I am not a sustainability expert, but from the experience I got with the project, is we were trying to make sure that the project is eco-friendly, for lack of a better word, as much as possible. We were looking at trying to have how we were utilizing, for example, in a particular case, the design was about how we were going to utilize a lot of the natural light to avoid having the artificial lights, which of course we know are not very costly, sustainable. Yeah? Yes, we were looking at how we were going to utilize the natural ventilation and thus therefore avoid boosting the development with a lot of mechanical ventilation, which will then also not be very sustainable. So in that particular project, it was a lot of natural ventilation was very key. Natural lighting was very key. Alternative materials as well was key in terms of what we were using. We went as far as now looking at the specifications for as small things like ironmongery in terms of the manufacturer's catalog and what has been used to manufacture the same, all in a bid to just try and be within the green building certification standards. Yes.
Okay, that sounds like a very interesting project. Hopefully, one day we'll be able to visit that and have a look at that. So, as we come towards the end, I'd want to maybe get your perspective on where do you think the building and construction industry is headed, the future of the building and construction industry.
Funny thing is that I used to think the future of the industry is smart buildings. Then I will say that the future has gotten up with us faster, because I think we've started seeing a lot of smart buildings coming in. But I'm looking at a situation where this is going to get further and further enhanced, such a way that you will have systems in the construction, particularly for houses, that will enable functionality and use of the space really integrated with technology in such a way that what we see in the depicted movies currently coming into reality. You're talking about being able to control your house from miles away, being able to moderate or regulate some aspects of your house when you're not really within the house. So I'm seeing that trend really coming in a lot, and funny enough is I think in Kenya as well, many clients have also started adopting that. So it looks like the future is catching up faster than we didn't think it would.
Yeah, okay. Do you think it's as expensive as it's made to look, or so far out of reach for most people? Or do you think these are things that can easily be incorporated in our day-to-day living? Yeah, sooner rather than later.
Yes. I think it has a cost implication, but then again, it all boils down to value engineering and what you're getting vis-a-vis how much you're spending to get that particular concept. So I think as time goes by, it's going to be more pocket friendly for each and every person trying to put up their particular home wherever. Mm-hmm. We have seen the coming in of very efficient internet connection from our friends from States. Mm-hmm. So with that, I think as time goes by, I think the also cost, if you compare the cost of doing a smart building like 2-3 years ago and now, of course, there's a difference in terms of being closer to reality for most people. So we hope as time goes by as well, mm-hmm. this will be able to accommodate more and more developers in the country.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I think we're coming towards the end, and I like the note to which we are ending this, especially when it comes towards sustainability, IoT, Internet of Things, and and we're looking at also the aspects of integrating AI in all these aspects. So I believe the future is very bright. And personally, as an architect and someone in the build industry with a lot of passion for sustainability, renewable energies, I believe it doesn't take too much, because most of these things that you've mentioned, we have quite a number of people, especially most people who can afford to put up homes can actually afford to incorporate it, because most of the homes that are put up, I believe that most of the projects that you're involved in cost 10 million upwards. So this is someone who's able to implement most of these elements and incorporate them, the technology and aspects of sustainability. So I don't think we necessarily have to wait for 20 or 30 years, 2050, so that we can plan to have sustainable design, such things as natural ventilation, natural lighting, incorporating IoT in our houses so that we have smart homes, just regulate various aspects such as lighting, ventilation, things like communication. I think it would be very interesting also just to have probably even just pods for charging our EV vehicles, using sustainable energy for our energy demands in our homes. So
the future is now.
Exactly. And I think that's why probably we also decided to have this series so that we can just talk about some of the low-hanging fruits in the construction industry that would help us get to where we want to or envision as a people when we talk about sustainability sooner rather than later. Because there are things that are actually within our grasp. So it just takes a little bit of push here and there, but we can actually attain it. Yeah. On to maybe the last part would be, I thought this would be very interesting, but to ask you if you have a joke for us, just to end it on a light note. Your favorite joke, or one of your favorites, if you have many.
I have a construction joke.
Awesome. In fact, that's best. Now, in fact, the next guest will be asked for a construction joke.
But I'm working on it.
I fell for that. That's a good one. You're still working on it. Yes. Oh, that's nice. I had another one. The thing is, how do you call a bird that works in construction? What's the name of a bird that works in the construction?
Tell me.
It's called a crane. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I found that and I found it very interesting. So, yeah. So, nonetheless, we are very excited. Thank you very much, Philip, for joining us, for agreeing to be my first guest. We are looking forward to having you more often. Trust me, this is not going to be the last time. So the next time probably we'll expect you to bring your projects and also your files on the bills of quantities you've done. Funnily enough, we've talked about quantities and you've not mentioned bill of quantities at all. So this is the guy who's responsible for preparing the bills of quantities. And I'm looking to have more discussions, interactions with other consultants. And also, of course, I'm looking to have you a little bit more frequently. We might be able to discuss even various current affairs, issues that are affecting the industry and also the world in general, because we don't live in an island. So we are very grateful. Maybe for the viewers or someone who's out there who's looking for a QS, maybe or a young student who would want to be a QS, what would you advise a young person who's budding and is interested in joining your industry?
Quantity surveying is a very passionate profession. Sharpen your analytical skills, and the rest is going to be it. You'll never get bored when you're doing quantity surveying. So karibu sana and join us in the industry.
You've heard it from the professional himself. Maybe your contacts, I believe we'll be able to share it down on the screen once we go to post-production so that you can have it and you can reach out to him. In case, do you have any social media handles at the moment you want to share?
Yes, the social media handles are there. On Twitter is Riwo_. On Instagram, Riwo_. LinkedIn is Philip Riwo. You can always engage and learn and talk about construction more.
Okay. Thank you very much, and we are looking to have you back again. Stay tuned so that we can have more of these conversations so that we can understand more about the construction industry and how various aspects and elements of the construction industry come together. So as I mentioned in our first episode, we're going to go from the smallest, most minute part of construction, from the nail all the way to the city and also to the world as a global village, and see how all these parts interact, the policies that influence various aspects, costs even in the construction industry. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share these videos with your friends and family. If you have anyone who is looking to put up a construction, feel free to advise them to just reach out so that they can pick out something that will help them have a better experience in the construction industry. Thank you, and looking forward to our next episode.